Ladies and gentlemen, success is a word that shines brightly in the minds of millions. We dream about it, talk about it, chase it, yet what most people overlook is the price that success demands. It doesn't arrive through shortcuts, luck, or wishful thinking. True and lasting success comes only through sacrifice. You see, every dream, every ambition, every great achievement in history has been built upon a foundation of sacrifice. Sacrifice is not about losing, it's about choosing. Choosing to give up something good for something greater. Choosing long-term gain over short-term comfort. It is the silent, unseen ingredient in the lives of all great achievers. Success is often celebrated for its rewards, fame, wealth, recognition, and achievement. But what is often hidden behind the glamorous outcomes is the deep and sometimes painful sacrifice that was made to get there. Sacrifice is the price tag attached to real success, and those who are unwilling to pay it often find themselves stuck in mediocrity. You cannot reach the summit of your dreams without letting go of the things that keep you at the base. Everything worthwhile comes at a cost, and that cost is usually paid in the currency of time, effort, comfort, and pleasure. Success is not given, it is earned, and sacrifice is the payment method. There is a hard truth most people ignore. You can't have it all. You cannot spend your evenings watching TV or scrolling through social media and expect to build a world-class business. You cannot sleep in every day and hope to be the best athlete, leader, or innovator. Life requires choices, and in making those choices, you are always giving something up. The difference between the successful and the unsuccessful is what they choose to sacrifice. The successful choose to sacrifice pleasure now for power later. They trade temporary ease for long-term excellence. They are willing to endure pain, isolation, and hard work to achieve something greater than what they currently have. Look at the life of anyone who has made it to the top of their field. Dig deep into their journey and you'll find moments of sacrifice that define their path. These are the times they said no when it would have been easier to say yes. The nights they stayed in working while their friends were out. The days they practiced, studied, and improved while others wasted time. Their sacrifices were not moments of loss. They were intentional acts of investment. They chose what mattered more over what felt good in the moment. That's the mindset of success. Sacrifice is not just about giving something up randomly. It's about aligning your actions with your priorities. If success is truly your goal, your daily decisions must reflect that. You have to structure your life in a way that makes room for growth. That might mean sacrificing sleep to wake up earlier and get ahead. It might mean giving up weekends to focus on building your side hustle. It might mean sacrificing your ego to learn from others who are more experienced. In every case, what you're giving up is not as valuable as what you're trying to build. It's important to understand that sacrifice is not a one-time event. It's not something you do once and then success magically appears. It is a continuous process, a lifestyle. Every level of success demands a new level of sacrifice. As you grow, you'll be called to let go of new comforts, face new fears, and make harder decisions. That's why so few people reach the top, because each new level tests your willingness to sacrifice even more. But for those who accept the challenge, the rewards are not just external. The process of sacrifice itself molds you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. You become the kind of person who can not only achieve success, but sustain it. There's a misconception that sacrifice is a negative thing, that it means you're losing out or depriving yourself, but in truth, it's an act of power. It means you are in control of your life. You are not letting your impulses, distractions, or fears dictate your destiny. You are choosing your future over your feelings. Sacrifice is one of the clearest signs of maturity and discipline. It means you've set your eyes on a higher vision, and you're willing to go through discomfort to make it real. Another important thing to realize is that if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. You can't hold on to everything and still expect growth. Trying to do so only results in mediocrity. That's why many people live average lives, not because they're not talented or capable, but because they're not willing to sacrifice. They choose comfort over challenge, ease over effort, and distractions over discipline. But life does not reward ease, it rewards effort. Life honors those who give up short-term gratification for long-term greatness. When you decide to sacrifice for success, you'll face resistance. People will question your choices. They'll wonder why you work so hard, why you miss out on fun, why you push yourself beyond what seems necessary. They might call you obsessive, boring, or unrealistic. But remember this, most people settle. Most people give up when it gets hard. Most people will never experience the satisfaction of achieving something that once seemed impossible. If you want an extraordinary life, you cannot live like the ordinary. You must be willing to do what others won't, so you can have what others never will. You'll also face inner resistance. Your mind will try to talk you out of it. It will whisper that you deserve a break, that the goal is too far away, that you should just take the easy route. That's when you must remind yourself why you started. That's when you must hold the vision of your future so clearly in your mind that it gives you the strength to keep going. Your sacrifice is not just about giving something up, it's about gaining something that is worth far more. The temporary discomfort is nothing compared to the fulfillment of realizing your potential. The power of sacrifice is that it changes you. It builds a version of you that is stronger than excuses, greater than limitations, and more focused than fear. It proves to you that you are capable of more than you imagined. Every time you make a sacrifice, you are making a statement. I believe in my dream enough to suffer for it. I believe in my future enough to work for it. I believe in myself enough to grow through this. So ask yourself today, what are you willing to give up to get where you want to be? What habits, people, comforts, or distractions are standing between you and your success? Be honest, be bold, because the higher your goal, the greater your sacrifice must be. But don't let that discourage you. Let it inspire you, because in the end, what you sacrifice today becomes the strength, wisdom, and success you stand on tomorrow. The climb is steep, but the view is worth it. Sacrifice now so you can live the life others only dream about later. Sacrifice is not about pain, punishment, or deprivation. It is about purpose. It is the deliberate choice to let go of something good in order to gain something greater. Every single person who has ever reached a high level of success has made sacrifices. The decision to give up comfort, temporary pleasures, and even people or habits that no longer serve a purpose is what sets high achievers apart from those who remain stuck in mediocrity. The truth is, you can't have it all. You can't grow and stay comfortable at the same time. You can't chase your dreams and your distractions simultaneously. The path to greatness requires a level of clarity and courage that most people aren't willing to develop. Choosing something greater over something good is difficult, especially when the good things are easily accessible. Fast food, social media, mindless entertainment, toxic relationships, these things are comfortable, familiar, and often immediately gratifying. On the other hand, the greater things, health, wisdom, financial freedom, purpose, mastery, require time, effort, patience, and consistency. They demand sacrifice. The reason most people fail to succeed isn't because they don't know what to do. It's because they aren't willing to give up what's easy for what's extraordinary. Success demands a level of maturity where you are no longer driven by impulses, but by intentions. Think about the countless moments in a single day where you are faced with choices. Do you hit snooze or wake up and get moving? Do you scroll through social media or open a book? Do you binge watch shows or work on your side hustle? Each decision might seem small, but over time they stack up. They define your habits, and your habits shape your future. What you consistently choose to do or not do reveals your true priorities. It is in these everyday moments that the power of sacrifice becomes either your advantage or your downfall. When you choose to delay gratification, when you choose to suffer in the short term for a higher purpose, you unlock doors others will never walk through. Sacrifice sharpens your focus. When you give up what no longer serves you, you create space for what truly matters. Imagine trying to carry a heavy backpack filled with useless items while climbing a mountain. That's how many people approach success, clinging to their distractions, excuses, and comforts, and then wondering why they can't make progress. Sacrifice is the act of putting that backpack down, removing what's unnecessary, and carrying only what strengthens you. It's not just about saying no to bad things, but sometimes even to good things that aren't aligned with your highest goals. That's where real discipline comes in. It's easy to say no to harmful things. It's much harder to say no to something enjoyable that's simply not beneficial at this moment. This kind of sacrifice isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's sacrificing your pride by asking for help or starting over. Sometimes it's sacrificing the need to always be right so you can build better relationships. Sometimes it's sacrificing short-term income for long-term value, like investing in learning or building something meaningful rather than chasing quick money. Each of these choices is a form of choosing something greater over something good. Sacrifice is also an emotional and mental process. It requires belief. You have to believe that what you're working toward is worth more than what you're giving up. Without belief, sacrifice feels like punishment. But with belief, it becomes a powerful act of self-love and commitment to your future. When you believe in the greater purpose of your goals, letting go of comfort becomes easier, even if it's still hard. That belief is what fuels resilience. It's what allows you to keep going when the rewards aren't immediate, when progress is slow, and when others around you can't understand your choices. And let's be honest, people will question your decisions. They'll say you're working too hard, missing out on life, or being unrealistic. They won't see the vision you carry. They won't feel the fire that burns inside you. That's okay. You don't need their approval. You need your own commitment. Choosing greater over good means you accept that not everyone will join you on this journey. Some relationships will fade. Some routines will die. Some parts of your old self will have to be buried. And that's the cost of growth. That's the price of evolution. Not everyone is meant to understand your path because it wasn't given to them. It was given to you. Choosing greater also means embracing discomfort. Success does not come wrapped in ease. It is forged in the fires of struggle, setbacks, and sacrifice. You'll have to stay disciplined when you're tired. You'll have to keep going when you feel like quitting. You'll have to say no to things that once brought you joy but now only serve to distract. You'll have to build new habits, routines, and standards that challenge you. But here's the beauty of it. Everything you sacrifice strengthens your character. Every difficult decision you make in the name of your goals makes you more powerful, more focused, and more prepared to handle the success you're building toward. What you choose to sacrifice is also a reflection of your self-worth. When you decide that your goals are worth your full energy, you are telling the world and yourself that you deserve more, that you are not here to live an average life, that you are not here to settle, that you are not afraid to give up what is merely good enough for something truly great. That mindset alone separates winners from wishers. Most people wish for better circumstances but aren't willing to change themselves or their habits to match those desires. But you can choose differently. Choosing greater over good is a daily commitment. It's not a one-time decision. Every morning you wake up, you're presented with a new opportunity to either rise or remain, to either grow or stay the same. Each time you say yes to your vision, you strengthen your ability to keep moving forward. It becomes a habit, a mindset, a way of life. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes to let go of distractions, to sacrifice comforts, and to pursue something meaningful. Eventually, something incredible happens. What once felt like sacrifice begins to feel like freedom. You no longer miss the things you gave up. You no longer crave the comfort zones you left behind. Because now you've become someone stronger, wiser, and more fulfilled. You start to experience the results of your commitment, whether it's financial stability, mastery of your craft, a fit body, or a deeply meaningful life. You realize that every sacrifice you made was not a loss, but an investment. You paid the price in advance, and now you're reaping the rewards. So when faced with the choice between what feels good now and what's great in the long run, choose wisely. Success doesn't come to the lucky. It comes to the intentional, the ones who are willing to walk the harder path, the ones who choose greater over good every single day. And if you're willing to make that choice again and again, the life you've dreamed of will no longer be a dream. It will become your reality. Every great achievement in human history, every breakthrough innovation, every record-breaking performance, and every iconic legacy is the result of one underlying force: sacrifice. It is the common denominator among all people who have reached the pinnacle of success in their respective fields. The athletes we admire, the business leaders we look up to, the artists whose work moves us, the thinkers who revolutionized how we see the world, none of them arrived at success by accident. Behind the curtain of applause, glory, and accomplishment lies a journey full of sacrifices, often invisible to the outside world. The public sees the results, not the relentless effort behind them. But if you trace the path backward, you'll find that sacrifice is not just part of the process, it is the process. To understand the power of sacrifice, look closely at those who have made a significant mark on the world. Elite athletes train for years, often beginning in childhood, sacrificing sleep, junk food, and ordinary social lives. While their peers relax on weekends or spend evenings out with friends, they are on the track, in the gym, or in the pool. They sacrifice time with family and comfort for grueling routines that push their bodies and minds to the limit. When they finally stand on a podium, it's not talent alone being celebrated. It's the decades of quiet, often painful sacrifice. The same is true for entrepreneurs. Behind every successful company is a founder who gave up the security of a steady paycheck, who worked countless nights while others slept, who poured their energy into something uncertain. These individuals often sacrifice stability, comfort, and even relationships because they believe in a vision bigger than themselves. They face rejection, failure, doubt, and pressure on a daily basis. What keeps them going? It's their willingness to continue sacrificing short-term comfort for long-term success. Think of artists, musicians, and performers who have mastered their craft. Their skills weren't gifted. They were earned through years of lonely practice, missed events, and endless repetition. Most people see the masterpiece or hear the hit song and applaud, but they don't see the thousands of hours behind it, the personal struggles or the failures that were necessary stepping stones to the final product. Success in the arts, just like in any other field, is a result of deep, personal, and persistent sacrifice. Even in academic and scientific fields, the story is the same. Inventors, researchers, and scholars spend years studying, testing, failing, and learning. Their breakthroughs are built on nights spent in labs, weekends lost to research, and the personal sacrifices made in pursuit of knowledge. They give up leisure to focus on learning, on advancing human understanding, and on creating solutions that improve lives. The fruits of their labor may only be recognized decades later, but the sacrifice they put in is what drives humanity forward. One key lesson we can draw from all these examples is that sacrifice is the true measure of commitment. Anyone can dream big, but not everyone is willing to pay the price to make that dream real. Sacrifice separates wishful thinking from determined action. It's easy to say you want success. It's harder to live in a way that proves it. You can't just want the result. You must be willing to embrace the process, and that process always involves giving something up. The nature of sacrifice means giving up something valuable. That could be time, comfort, relationships, entertainment, or even ego. What's important is that the thing you give up is voluntarily surrendered for something more meaningful. You willingly trade one value for a higher value. That's the essence of growth. If you cling to everything, you remain stuck. But when you let go of what's good in favor of what's great, you begin to ascend. This is not to suggest that sacrifice is easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest things you will ever do. It requires clarity, knowing what you want. It requires courage, letting go of the familiar. And it requires conviction, holding on to your purpose when everything around you tempts you to give up. The reason so few people experience true success is because so few are willing to make these choices consistently. It's not about one grand sacrifice, but the ongoing discipline to make the right choices every single day. Every time you wake up early instead of sleeping in, you're sacrificing comfort for productivity. Every time you choose to study instead of scroll, you're sacrificing distraction for knowledge. Every time you say no to a night out so you can work on your dream, you're sacrificing fun for fulfillment. These sacrifices add up. They compound over time. While the effects may not be immediate, they are inevitable. The person who keeps choosing sacrifice will eventually outperform the person who only chooses ease. It's also important to recognize that sacrifice doesn't just affect outcomes, it transforms you. The person who commits to sacrifice becomes stronger, more disciplined, and more focused. Sacrifice develops character. It teaches you patience, resilience, and self-control. These traits are not only essential for achieving success, but also for maintaining it. Many people lose success because they weren't prepared for it. Sacrifice is the training ground that prepares you to handle the responsibilities and pressures that come with growth. And here's the beautiful paradox. The very thing you sacrifice for begins to give back to you in ways you never imagined. The hours you invest in your business eventually create freedom. The time you put into your health builds energy and confidence. The relationships you protect through selflessness grow deeper and more meaningful. What you give up now begins to repay you later. In the short term, it feels like loss. In the long term, it becomes gain. There's a quote that says, "Hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life." That's the heart of sacrifice. The road of sacrifice is steep, but it leads upward. The road of comfort is easy, but it often leads to regret. If you want a life of meaning, purpose, and success, you must choose the harder path now so you can enjoy a freer life later. Let us not forget that sacrifice also brings perspective. When you give up things others consider essential, you learn what truly matters. You learn that you don't need to impress everyone. You learn that your worth is not tied to external validation. You learn to live for your values, your vision, and your calling. In a world full of noise and distractions, sacrifice gives you clarity. So the next time you're tempted to take the easy way out, remember the stories of those who came before you. The athletes, the creators, the entrepreneurs, the inventors, they all made the same difficult choices you're facing now. They sacrificed, and in doing so, they unlocked their potential. Their success was not an accident, it was a consequence. You are not excluded from this path. Greatness is available to anyone willing to pay the price. So ask yourself, what am I willing to sacrifice for what I want? Am I choosing temporary comfort or permanent growth? The answers to these questions will shape your life more than any external factor ever could. In the end, sacrifice is not about suffering. It's about investing. It's about planting seeds today for the future you desire tomorrow. And when those seeds bloom, when the results begin to manifest, you'll look back and realize it was all worth it. The missed parties, the sleepless nights, the lonely moments of effort, they all contributed to the life you were meant to live. Greatness requires sacrifice. The only question is, are you willing to give up what's easy now to gain what's extraordinary later? Success is a destination that many dream of, but few truly reach. Not because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity, but because they are unwilling to consistently make the small, often invisible sacrifices required along the way. One of the most overlooked truths about achieving anything worthwhile in life is that the journey to success is not marked by grand moments of victory, but by small, consistent choices that require you to say no to distractions, no to comfort, and no to anything that doesn't align with your purpose. These small sacrifices are the foundation upon which great success is built. They may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time, they shape your character, mold your habits, and determine your future. Every single day, you are faced with hundreds of micro decisions: what time to wake up, how to spend your free time, what to eat, who to talk to, what to focus on, and what to postpone. Most people don't realize that each of these decisions is a brick in the foundation of their life. The decision to hit snooze may feel harmless today, but do it every day, and suddenly you've built a habit of procrastination. On the flip side, the decision to get up, stretch, read, or work on a skill might seem small now, but repeated over time, it becomes a lifestyle that moves you closer to mastery. Success is not about one massive leap. It's about the accumulation of small, deliberate steps, each one requiring a form of sacrifice. What do these small sacrifices look like? It could mean skipping late-night shows so you can wake up early to work on your goals. It could mean spending weekends learning a new skill instead of going out. It might involve cutting back on unnecessary expenses to save money for investment. It might mean deleting apps that waste your time or distancing yourself from people who pull you away from your purpose. These aren't huge, dramatic sacrifices, but they are incredibly powerful when done consistently. The beauty of small sacrifices is that they are manageable. You don't need to turn your entire life upside down in one night. You just need to start by making slightly better choices than you did yesterday. Instead of scrolling for an hour, read for 20 minutes. Instead of sleeping until 10 a.m., wake up at 8 a.m. and go for a walk. Instead of eating out every day, learn to cook one healthy meal. These changes don't seem revolutionary in isolation, but when repeated daily, they transform your life. Over weeks, months, and years, these small sacrifices become habits, and habits are the true drivers of long-term success. Let's take an example. Imagine someone who wants to become a professional speaker. This person decides to practice speaking for 20 minutes every day and watches one great speech each night to learn. To make time, they sacrifice 40 minutes of daily entertainment. Over a year, they've practiced for over 120 hours and studied 365 top speakers. Multiply that effort by 2 or 3 years, and they've likely become one of the most knowledgeable and practiced individuals in their circle. Now compare that to someone who wants to become a speaker but never sacrifices anything. They still watch 2 hours of Netflix every night and think about practicing someday. The difference between the two will be enormous, but it all started with a tiny sacrifice done consistently. This principle applies to all areas of life, whether you're trying to build a business, improve your health, strengthen your relationships, or develop a meaningful career. Small sacrifices are the price of progress, and yes, they often go unnoticed by others. No one is going to congratulate you for waking up early every day, or for skipping a party to stay focused. But that's okay. Success isn't about applause, it's about results. And the most important recognition is the one that comes from within, knowing you are growing, you are becoming, and you are moving forward. There's another powerful reason why small sacrifices matter. They build your discipline muscle. Just like physical muscles grow through repeated effort, your mental strength increases every time you choose what's right over what's easy. Each small sacrifice is a rep, a practice session in self-control. Over time, you become someone who can say no to temptations without hesitation. You become someone who finishes what they start. You become someone who does what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. This kind of inner strength is rare, and it's what separates high performers from the average majority. And let's be clear, small sacrifices are not just about saying no. They're also about saying yes to the right things. Saying yes to that 15-minute jog instead of lounging. Saying yes to writing one page of your book instead of watching another video. Saying yes to making that one uncomfortable phone call that could move your business forward. Each yes you say to your future requires a no to the present comfort. But over time, the joy that comes from growth far outweighs the temporary satisfaction you gave up. What makes small sacrifices even more powerful is their cumulative effect. Think of compound interest in finance. A small investment made regularly over time grows into something massive. The same goes for effort. A small action repeated every day compounds into a new identity. You go from someone who occasionally tries to someone who is consistent. You go from someone who wishes to someone who works. Your self-image improves, your results improve, and your life improves. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. Many people give up because they expect quick results. They make a few sacrifices, don't see dramatic changes, and assume it's not working. But success is like planting a seed. You don't see results right away, but if you keep watering it day after day, growth becomes inevitable. The same goes for your efforts. Small sacrifices might feel like they're not making a difference, but give it time. Stay committed. Stay patient. Because the transformation is happening, even if you can't see it yet. Another beautiful aspect of small sacrifices is that they inspire others. Your consistency becomes a silent message to those around you. People begin to notice your discipline, your focus, your progress. They may not say anything at first, but your example challenges them to raise their own standards. You might think your sacrifices are only helping you, but they have a ripple effect far beyond your own life. Your family, friends, and peers will be inspired by your example, even if they never tell you. In the end, success is not reserved for the lucky or the privileged. It's available to anyone willing to make the small sacrifices others avoid. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. It's about doing one thing today that moves you forward and then doing it again tomorrow. These actions become a rhythm, a routine, a lifestyle. They become your edge. So ask yourself, what small sacrifice can I make today that will bring me closer to who I want to become? What comfort can I give up now for the sake of my future? You don't need to do everything. You just need to do something and do it consistently. That's how mountains are moved. That's how dreams are built. That's how ordinary people achieve extraordinary success, one small sacrifice at a time. The road to success is not only shaped by what we gain, but more importantly, by what we're willing to give up. One of the most defining features of highly successful individuals is their long-term vision, the ability to endure short-term pain for long-term gain. In a world addicted to instant gratification, the discipline to sacrifice immediate pleasures for a greater reward is both rare and powerful. This ability to delay gratification is not just a trait, it's a mindset, a discipline, and a skill that can be developed by anyone determined enough to rise above average results. We live in a fast-paced society that glorifies instant success, quick money, and overnight fame. Social media highlights the finished product, not the years of silent struggle that built it. This creates a false perception that success is swift and effortless. But the truth is, success demands patience, persistence, and an almost surgical ability to ignore immediate temptations. The real winners in life understand that every decision carries a cost. If you indulge in what's easy now, you delay or destroy the possibility of what extraordinary later. Long-term vision means being able to see beyond the current moment. It means asking yourself not just what feels good now, but rather what will bring me closer to my goals. For example, staying in bed might feel good right now, but waking up early to work on your goals builds a future you won't regret. Spending on luxury items might bring short-term satisfaction, but saving and investing builds wealth that lasts. Eating comfort food might please you for an hour, but choosing healthy meals builds a strong, energetic body that serves you for years. The ability to delay gratification comes down to understanding this simple but profound truth. You can't have it all right now, you must choose. Do you want the temporary comfort of today or the lasting success of tomorrow? Because in most cases, you can't have both. Every moment you spend on one is a moment taken from the other. Time, energy, and focus are limited resources. Where you spend them determines what you get in return. Look at the lives of those who've built lasting success. The tech entrepreneur who lived in a small apartment while building a billion-dollar idea. The athlete who skipped parties and vacations to perfect their craft. The artist who endured years of rejection before finally being recognized. These people didn't get lucky. They made hard choices. They delayed gratification when it would have been easier to settle. They sacrificed now so they could enjoy later. Delaying gratification also strengthens emotional maturity. It teaches you to be comfortable with discomfort, to keep going when rewards aren't immediate, to believe in your future, even when the present feels stagnant. When you delay gratification, you're telling yourself, I am capable of waiting. I am focused. I am not controlled by impulse. I am building something bigger. And that internal conversation begins to shape not just your habits, but your identity. A big part of this process is being able to say no to distractions, no to unnecessary commitments, no to anything that doesn't serve your higher purpose. This doesn't mean becoming a hermit or eliminating all joy. It means being intentional. It means filtering your choices through the lens of your long-term goals. If something doesn't align with where you want to go, you learn to walk away from it, even if it's tempting in the moment. One powerful tool in learning to delay gratification is goal visualization. If you have a clear vision of where you want to be, it becomes easier to endure present sacrifices. For example, if you see yourself as a fit, healthy person, it becomes easier to skip junk food or commit to daily workouts. If you see yourself as a successful business owner, it's easier to spend your weekends building systems instead of wasting time on distractions. Your vision pulls you through the pain of the present. Without vision, the sacrifice feels meaningless. With vision, the sacrifice becomes an investment. Another critical aspect is understanding that the most valuable results in life take time. Real success, the kind that's lasting and meaningful, is never instant. Whether it's building wealth, mastering a skill, growing a business, or developing deep relationships, it all takes time, effort, and sacrifice. The fruits of delayed gratification don't appear overnight, but they are more rewarding than anything temporary. They don't fade quickly. They build a foundation for a lifetime of success. Delaying gratification also leads to better decision-making. When you're not ruled by impulse, you think more clearly, you weigh the pros and cons, you develop foresight. You begin to see patterns, how one decision leads to another, how good habits create momentum, how bad habits create regret. With this awareness, you stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You stop chasing quick hits of pleasure and start building a meaningful, purpose-driven life. It's important to acknowledge that delaying gratification doesn't mean living a life of constant denial or joylessness. It's not about suffering for the sake of suffering. It's about prioritizing. It's about choosing a higher joy over a cheaper thrill. It's about valuing long-term peace over short-term excitement. It's about knowing that true fulfillment often comes from what you build, not what you consume. In a practical sense, you can train your ability to delay gratification. Start small. Set short-term goals with slightly delayed rewards. For instance, commit to reading for 30 minutes before watching your favorite show, or save a small portion of your income before buying something you want. These small actions train your brain to associate discipline with satisfaction. Over time, you'll find that you enjoy the feeling of control, that discipline becomes your default setting, and that gratification delayed becomes gratification multiplied. You will face moments of doubt and weakness. Everyone does. There will be times when the rewards seem too far away and the temptations too close. In those moments, remind yourself why you started. Reflect on the cost of giving up. Think about the regret you'll avoid by staying strong. Every time you win a small battle over temptation, you become stronger. Your confidence grows, your self-respect increases, and success inches closer. Ultimately, delaying gratification is a form of self-respect. It's a declaration that your future matters, that you are worth the wait, that your dreams are too valuable to be traded for momentary pleasure. It is a mindset that separates the good from the great, the average from the elite. Most people aren't willing to wait. Most people settle for what's easy. But those who rise are those who wait, work, and believe, even when nothing is guaranteed. So ask yourself, what am I choosing today? Am I chasing comfort or creating greatness? Am I investing in my future or escaping the present? The answers to these questions will shape your destiny. Delayed gratification isn't glamorous. It doesn't trend on social media. It doesn't bring immediate applause, but it works. It transforms, it builds. And if you practice it long enough, it will reward you in ways no instant pleasure ever could. One of the most misunderstood ideas on the journey to success is the belief that once you make sacrifices, the rewards will immediately follow. But the truth is often the opposite. Success doesn't arrive the day after you sacrifice your comfort, sleep, or free time. It doesn't come the moment you give up distractions, unhealthy habits, or unproductive environments. In most cases, success is delayed. It arrives after a long period of struggle, doubt, silence, and hard work that often goes unnoticed by the world. This delayed reward is the ultimate test of character, and only those who remain committed through the waiting season eventually experience the breakthrough. When we first commit to a goal, whether it's financial freedom, physical transformation, a career milestone, or building a business, we're usually fueled by motivation. We feel inspired, energized, and ready to give our all. We start waking up earlier, working longer, training harder, reading more, and cutting out distractions. But as time passes and the results don't come as quickly as we hoped, doubt begins to creep in. The question becomes louder, is this even working? And this is where most people quit. They assume that if there's no visible reward, then the sacrifice isn't worth it. But this is a dangerous mindset because it overlooks the hidden power of delayed rewards. Success is not a vending machine. You don't insert a few hours of effort and instantly receive results. Success is more like farming. You plant the seed, water it every day, protect it from threats, and trust the process. There's a period where nothing seems to be happening. The soil looks the same. There's no visible sign that your sacrifice is making a difference. But beneath the surface, roots are forming. Strength is building. Momentum is growing. And then, seemingly all at once, but only after consistent effort, something sprouts. That is the nature of success. Slow to grow, fast to bloom. Delayed reward teaches you patience. And patience is not passive. It is an active state of faith, discipline, and endurance. It means you continue doing what's right even when it feels like nothing is changing. You keep making the hard choices, you stay focused, you protect your energy, you remain loyal to your mission, even when applause is absent and recognition is minimal. Because deep down you know that the seeds of sacrifice always grow, just not always on your timeline. Sacrifices made today are investments in your future self. But just like financial investments, they don't pay off instantly. Imagine someone who wants to become a skilled musician. They start practicing for hours every day. For weeks and months, they struggle. Their fingers hurt, their confidence dips, and their progress is slow. Friends are out having fun, enjoying life, while this person is isolated in their room, trying to master a chord progression. There's no reward yet. But a year later, 2 years later, that same person is playing confidently, perhaps on a stage, admired by others. The reward came, but only after the sacrifice matured. This principle applies to all areas of life. Consider the person who sacrifices daily indulgences to save money. While others are buying new gadgets, eating out every night, and flaunting luxuries, they are quietly building wealth. At first, they look like they're missing out, but 5 or 10 years down the line, they are financially free, while others are buried in debt. The delayed reward is far greater than any temporary satisfaction they gave up. Another powerful outcome of delayed reward is that it sharpens your character. While you wait, you grow. You develop resilience, humility, mental toughness, and perspective. You learn to trust yourself. You stop measuring your progress by what you can see and start valuing the invisible traits being formed inside you. And eventually, when the success does arrive, you're not just ready to receive it, you're ready to handle it. Because the waiting season matured you. It prepared you to lead, to sustain your results, and to avoid self-sabotage. The challenge is, most people aren't willing to wait that long. In a world of instant gratification, patience is a rare superpower. People want shortcuts, hacks, quick wins. But real success cannot be hacked. It must be earned. And earning it requires time. That's why the sacrifice of waiting is one of the most valuable gifts you can give yourself. Not because the reward is delayed, but because of who you become while waiting. Think about the gym. You don't get fit after one workout. You don't build muscle after one day of lifting weights. The body needs time to respond. Likewise, when you're chasing your goals, you have to give your mind, your skills, your network, and your environment time to adapt. The absence of visible progress does not mean the absence of progress. It often just means you're in the middle of the process, and the middle is messy, quiet, and hard. But it's necessary. To stay committed through the season of delayed rewards, you must build systems, not just rely on motivation. Create routines that serve your goals. Develop accountability. Track your effort even when results don't show up. Celebrate discipline over outcome. And most importantly, remind yourself daily of your why. Why did you start? Why does it matter? Why must you keep going? When the purpose is strong, the patience becomes easier. It's also helpful to look back at your own life. Think of a time you made a sacrifice and didn't see results right away, but over time the effort paid off. Use those memories as fuel. They prove that the delay is not denial. They remind you that every hour of hard work, every temptation resisted, every tear shed, and every moment of discomfort is not in vain. It is all part of the price you pay to become who you were meant to be. Surrounding yourself with the right people also helps. Find a community of others who understand the value of sacrifice. People who are also working silently toward long-term goals. Their presence will validate your path, strengthen your resolve, and remind you that you are not alone. Greatness is a lonely road, but it doesn't have to be walked entirely in solitude. In the end, success is never just about talent, resources, or opportunity. It's about endurance. It's about continuing the race when the finish line isn't in sight. It's about staying loyal to your vision even when your current reality doesn't reflect it. And that takes sacrifice. It takes waking up early, staying late, practicing, preparing, and believing in yourself, believing in the process, believing that all you're giving up now is not lost, it's simply delayed in return. So if you're in the waiting season, stay strong. If the results haven't shown up yet, don't quit. If your sacrifices haven't been rewarded, trust that they will. The process is working even if it's not obvious. Keep building, keep showing up, keep doing the hard, boring, necessary work. Because one day, perhaps sooner than you think, the reward will come. And when it does, it will be bigger, deeper, and more meaningful than anything instant ever could be. That is the power of delayed reward. And that is the ultimate payoff of sacrifice.